Thank you.
So Podesta said Russia clearly intervened. To what extent, and when do we see the evidence?
Yeah. Well, look, we know that they were behind the hacking. I accept the word of the CIA and FBI. I do. And look, this ought to be thoroughly investigated, not by a special committee, but by the regular committees of Congress, Senate and the House Intelligence Committee, in my opinion. But to what effect? The day before the October 7th WikiLeaks release, in the Real Clear Politics average, Hillary Clinton was at 48%, and on Election Day she got 48.08%. The absence of a compelling message to vote for her, a dreadful candidate who came down the end and sounded like, I'm more of the same, status quo, elect me because I deserve it. They're blaming the Russians for the failure of the Clinton campaign to actually have a campaign. And I thought it was pathetic yesterday that after piously lecturing the American people that Donald Trump ought to accept the outcome of the election, that they are now not accepting the outcome of the election.
So you were hot on fire in Fox News Sunday, and that continues today. I appreciate the vigor and the enthusiasm. What is the means to the end here for Democrats? What is their objective prior to inauguration?
Well, look, I'm sort of passionate about this because I see this is deja voodoo all over again. I saw this after the 2000 election when they tried to delegitimize George W. Bush's election. We had Paul Begala and James Carville. We had the Democratic leader in the House on Meet the Press on December 18th, twice asked by Tim Russert, do you think George Bush is a legitimately elected president of the United States? And twice Dick Gephardt, who's a good man, said no. And yesterday, John Podesta attempted to do the same thing 16 years later with the incoming president of the United States. It is not good for our country when we have people like that, particularly people who have piously and hypocritically lectured the American people on the necessity of supporting the outcome of the election, who then turn around and don't support the outcome of the election.
My feeling
and
that,
not only do that, but also say things that are inaccurate, as he said many times yesterday in that.
If you're right about that, I'm looking around Manhattan, I see over the weekend, protests. Maybe it's 100 people here, maybe it's 200 people over there. So if you are right to delegitimize Trump when he is sworn in office, does the left stop the protests, or do they get bigger?
No, they don't stop what they're doing, because look, this is a way for them to raise money. Internet appeals to raise money. We saw it in Stein. Let's go out and raise $5 million overnight to contest the election in 3 Great Lakes states because Hillary Clinton had the election stolen from her in it. Well, it turned out Donald Trump got more votes as a result of those recounts. Look at it on MoveOn.org and the Progressive Coalition. All these left-wing groups, they needed to collect members, get names, get internet, get email addresses, and raise money. Wow. And this is going to continue. So
you support the investigation or the hearing or whatever comes of that, right?
Sure.
And President Obama says he wants the report out before he leaves office. That's 3 weeks in January. I don't know. Will it happen that quickly or not?
It's not going to happen before the president leaves office, and it shouldn't. He's rushing in order to have it done while he's in office so that he can be the pontificator in chief. And this ought to be done in the normal course and in a bipartisan way through the House and Senate Intelligence.
So your job is to figure out why people vote the way they do, and you're damn good at it, as a matter of fact. I thought your piece in the Wall Street Journal last week was telling. The many Democratic excuses for defeat. I found this on Politico, how Clinton lost Michigan. Apparently they had Democratic operatives all over the state looking for direction, and they could not get it because the headquarters for the Clinton team would not provide it for them.
Well, not only that, but some people were dispatched to go to Iowa, which they were clearly going to lose, and the Michiganders said, no, we want those people to be in Michigan. And Brooklyn, the Clinton headquarters, calls them and reads them the riot act for not dispatching the buses full of volunteers to Iowa. They were going to lose Iowa. Iowa, they were consistently behind in the polling. Michigan was tightening, and the Michiganders said, keep them at home.
One last point. Saw this on another network earlier today, CNN. The biggest challenge is getting out of our bubbles. That's a quote from Clinton supporters saying they need to understand Trump voters. So what is happening in that? Well,
John Podesta and Donna Brazile and others are showing that they aren't getting out of their bubble. They are fortifying their bubble. They're staying in this. We didn't lose the election because we lacked a compelling message. We didn't lose the election because we had a lousy candidate. We didn't lose the election because we were far too left-wing. We didn't lose the election because we were status quo in a year which people want to change. We didn't lose the election because we're a bunch of smart people sitting in Brooklyn condescendingly looking down at America. No, that isn't true. Something else kept us from winning. And in reality, the Democratic Party will not begin to heal itself until it gets rid of that attitude and accepts the fact that it lost the election to Donald Trump because they had a lousy candidate, a lousy message, a left-wing attitude, and the American people didn't buy it.